Hi everyone, good morning. Today is Friday. It's February 16th and it's the Friday right after Ash Wednesday. So we're going to do our daily Lent meditation. And the scripture readings for today's meditation are taken from one from Old Testament and one from New Testament. So the one from the Old Testament is Isaiah chapter 58 verses 1 to 9. And from the New Testament, Matthew chapter 9, verses 14 to 15. And this is a quotation taken from Isaiah. "Do you call this a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord?" Fasting has a long history among religious people. It has always been a way of expiating sin, a way of purifying the spirit, a way of offering up something to the Lord. In the Christian tradition, fasting has held an honored place. At the time, however, the spiritual masters have been a bit wary of fasting because of the Lord's warning in Matthew. Quote, "When you fast, you are not to look glum as the hypocrites do. They change the appearance of their faces so that others may see they are fasting. I assure you, they are already repaid." End quote. There is a subtle temptation to make of fasting a vain display of virtue. It seems uncommonly difficult for a Christian to fast without making a display of it, or without looking down his nose at those poor unfortunates who do not have enough willpower to fast. The first reading of today emphasizes another point about fasting, one that pious people seem to often forget. Isaiah links fasting and social justice. Isn't that interesting? Quote, "Is this the manner of fasting I wish, of keeping a day of penance? That a man bow his head like a reed, and lie in sackcloth and ashes? Do you call this a fast, a day acceptable to the Lord? This, rather, is the fasting I wish, releasing those bound unjustly, untying the thongs of the yoke, setting free the oppressed, breaking every yoke, sharing your bread with the hungry, sheltering the oppressed and the homeless, clothing the naked when you see them, and not turning your back on your own." End quote. These haunting words of Isaiah remind us of the powerful portrait of the Last Judgment painted by Jesus. Quote, "The king will say to those on the right, 'Come, you have my Father's blessing, for I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me, naked and you clothed me. I was ill and you comforted me, in prison and you came to visit me." End quote. Jesus would not allow a false piety to dominate the hearts of his disciples. St. James, in his turn, spells out the practical implications of a false piety. Quote, "My brothers, what good is it to profess faith without practicing it? Such faith has no power to save one, has it? If a brother or sister has nothing to wear and no food for the day, and you say to them, 'Goodbye and good luck, keep warm and well fed,' but do not meet their bodily needs, what good is that? So it is with faith that does nothing in practice. It is thoroughly lifeless." End quote. Traditionally, Lenten practices have emphasized fasting and prayer. This is as it should be, because in these ways we can honor the Lord and grow in the Spirit. But the almsgiving of the gospel, the practice of charity and justice, must not be neglected. Lent challenges us, first of all, to gospel simplicity, to right priorities, and a simpler lifestyle. The poor cannot fast because they have nothing to eat. Those who are well off must look for ways of sharing with the poor. While it is true that there are family and social obligations which cannot be lightly dismissed, it is also true that many of us have more than we need or can ever responsibly use. The Christ, whom we love and serve, was born poor, lived a poor life, identified with the poor, and died poor. We can hardly consider ourselves his disciples if the poor find no place in our hearts. So the prayer comes from Psalms 39, chapter 39, verse 13, quote, "Hear my prayer, O Lord, to my cry give ear, to my weeping be not deaf, for I am but a wayfarer before you, a pilgrim like all my fathers." End quote. And our practice for today is, I will fast today and will give the money saved to the poor. So that's your practice and prayer for today. I hope it goes well for you, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Okay? God bless. Have a nice day.